Hi, it's Shola Kaye here. I'm a public speaking coach and I have a couple of brands which I call Speak Up Like a Diva when I'm working with the ladies and Speak Up and Shine when I'm working with fellas or when I've got a mixed group. But of course not every woman wants to be a diva and not every man is worried about being called a diva. So hey, whether you want to be a diva or whether you just want to shine or do both, you are welcome. And today I want to ask you a question, and it's this: is your diction letting you down? Now, you might think if I'm talking about topics like diction, I should be wearing a tweed jacket and being, oh dear, you must speak properly, my darling, and being a bit of a lovey. But that's not the background I come from. But nevertheless, speaking with more clarity, making sure that your diction really does articulate what you're saying can make a huge difference. Earlier this week, I was running a workshop, which is, this particular one is called the Speaker's Toolkit, and it's actually content that is included in my 6-week speaking success and my Get Clients with Speaking online programs. And I was running a live workshop on this topic, and one of the areas that we look at is your diction. And I asked one of the participants in the workshop to read a sentence, and it sounded perfect. We could understand everything he was saying. But as we focused more and more on his diction and making sure that we heard every single consonant that was in all of the words that he was speaking, it made a huge difference. And this guy went from sounding like regular person to sounding like a Shakespearean actor. Now I know that not everybody wants to sound like they're on the stage and don't you think, of course they don't. But imagine if you had that tool at your disposal. So when you're making a really key important point you want everyone to hear, then you could really up the ante on your diction and make sure that every single word is punctuated and articulated clearly. And then go back to how you're normally speaking, right? I'm not saying that you have to change the way you speak to be understood, but all of these things like diction and having more gravitas when you speak, they're all wonderful tools to help mix things up when you're in front of the audience. So why is it important to focus on our diction? Well, I've just spoken about it there, and my bit of paper's just fallen down with my little notes on it. So I'm going to stick it back up here. And some of the points that I wanted to make include, we typically speak in a very functional way these days, just enough to get the message across. But if a speaking opportunity in front of a group isn't reason to work a little bit on how you come across, then I don't know what a good reason would be. So forget about speaking fast and just getting the message out there. When you rehearse, when you practice, think about how you say every word. Enjoy the words, the feel of them in your mouth. And really think about how they're coming out and how you're expressing your message. Also, if you articulate certain words or certain phrases, as I said before, you will hold people's attention. They'll hear that you're giving these words slightly different emphasis, that you're being slightly different when you deliver that particular phrase or sentence, and they'll pay more attention. Also, it's worth watching your diction and listening carefully to it so that you can do your words justice. So it's not only about getting the audience to listen and pay closer attention, but it's about saying, well, if you're perhaps giving a quote, you're reading a quote out, just improving your diction slightly during that particular quote, or articulating a little bit better so that you are doing that quote justice. Now, one way that you can improve your diction is with a very complex and technical tool like this, which is very difficult to get hold of, and it's called a pencil. And all you have to do is pop it into your mouth and speak with the pencil in your mouth for a minute or two. And what that does is it will make it harder for you to speak, right? Your mouth has to work harder. And so when you take the pencil out of your mouth, you'll hear a difference. So I've got a bit of a gag reflex, so hopefully this will be okay here. I won't embarrass myself, but let's do this. Happy birthday to you. My name is Shola. Happy birthday to you. My name is Shola. Now, speaking with that same amount of effort once the pencil is out of my mouth automatically leads to much better diction and words that are pronounced much more clearly and concisely. In the same way, you could do this exercise for a couple of minutes every day. Or if you're about to make a presentation, pop outside of the room and speak with this in your mouth for a couple of minutes, or even just a couple of sentences, and you really will feel a difference. Right, the postman's at the door, so I've got to hop. But that's it from me, and if you want to find out more about how to speak with better diction, then have a look at my online courses. Take care. Bye.